The Chelyabinsk region is one of those places that offers something for everyone. Sitting just east of the Urals, the country's border between Europe and Asia, this is an ethnically diverse area of more than 3 million people. There's a bustling capital city to enjoy, and for the nature lovers, some of Russia's most stunning countryside is right on your doorstep.
As well as being very beautiful, this is also a very significant part of the Chelyabinsk region, because over there it marks the start of the European Ural Mountains, and also we're on top of one of Russia's most significant archaeological treasures.
Just a few meters away is the entrance to the Ignatievskaya cave, and it's supposed to contain some of the best preserved ancient artwork in the country.
That's definitely the place.
Hello, James.
No.
My guide Lydia is an archaeologist who's been studying the cave for more than 20 years. The drawings here are from the Paleolithic period and are believed to illustrate the local tribesmen's rites of passage.
Hopefully you can see this little red clay mark up there on the walls. It's supposed to date back 14,500 years, and this cave was used by local young men as a sacred place where they would come and make themselves adults. Ow! Right. Well, this is definitely a cave for the brave, and not a cave for the claustrophobic. All right.
But it was worth the tight squeeze, because the drawings on the other side are truly spectacular.
You can see here, this is a huge horn, and it's supposed to belong to the figure of a unicorn, which is spread out over almost 4 meters of the roof. And that's actually supposed to symbolize man. And appropriately enough, it's linked to this figure here of a woman. Hopefully you can make out her head, and there's the body and breasts here, and her legs at the back. And just across, there's a line of dots showing that they are both joined as one.
The room has a strong spiritual aura, and I wasn't surprised to find that even after all this time, it's still used as a shrine.
So this is considered to be one, if not the most sacred place in the whole cave, and it's interesting to see how the ancient religions have come together with Christianity, because people began to believe that this little figure here actually started to look like an icon of Mary, and so Christians started to come here and worship and place little icons of their own. You can see they're still here, and it's still used as a place where people come and pray today, thousands and thousands of years after it was made.
This may be the most unusual icon in the region, but most of Chelyabinsk's artwork comes from one small town with an international reputation.
Chelyabinsk region has always been one of Russia's most important industrial areas because of the quality of its iron ore. But on this territory, there's been a factory that for more than 2.5 centuries has helped make it famous the world over.
Kasli Ironworks is credited with redefining cast iron art. It's won numerous international awards, and its sculptures appear in collections across the planet. But the manufacturing process has barely changed since its 1800s heyday.
And so here we've got some of the ingredients that have made the cast iron here so famous, and it's all local products basically. You've got over here the slightly lighter substance is clay, and the black is just local sand, but it contains properties that when mixed with the iron ore make a very strong form of cast iron, and that's why the artwork here is of such high quality. And our lady here is making one of the molds that the iron is going to be poured into. So she's covering the icon with layers of clay, and sand. Once the actual icon has been removed, you have this perfect imprint left in the mould.
And then things really start to heat up.
So from this boiling hot stove here, wow, you get the liquid iron ore, sand and clay flowing into this bucket here. Best not to stare directly at it. So the liquid iron is being poured into these moulds here, where it will sit for 24 hours until it's cooled enough to be taken out, so the next part of the process can begin. But wow, pretty toxic in here. I'm going to move out of the way.
And once the metal reaches the right temperature, the factory artists can go to work.
So this is the next stage for our St. Nikolai here, now that he's come out of his mould. The ladies basically chisel down the fine details, smooth it, sand it, and make everything look just perfect.
Each piece receives plenty of expert attention, and some of the finest examples are kept in the factory for visitors to admire.
Now up here you can see just some of the results that have come of 2.5 centuries of craftsmanship and produced beautiful intricate models like these. And here you have the cast iron furniture that first made the company's name. And of course there's old St. Nick watching over it all.
But if you want to see a few larger pieces of Kasseli iron, then just take a trip to Chelyabinsk itself. This is the region's capital and its cultural and business centre. It's home to around 1.3 million people, and I was about to take a tour along its most beautiful street.
And so, if my calculations are correct, and this is what I think it is, we should be right in the very heart of Chelyabinsk, and that means that my friend Elena is over here.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing? Yes, very good, thank you. So, am I right? This is the very centre of town?
Absolutely. This is the very center of the town. And you can just read it here. See? 0 mark of...
Chelyabinsk.
Absolutely. The point of calculation of any distance between the cities.
Okay.
Yelena has lived all her life in Chelyabinsk, and she's always keen to show off its sights and its wildlife.
We see the camel, the symbol of Chelyabinsk.
A very big camel.
The big camel. But actually, I think they all somehow became already the symbols of Chelyabinsk.
So-
Look at this bird. Maybe you should touch
I
it.
think they're all supposed to be good luck symbols, aren't they? All right, so if we rub the birds and,
just in case, the head of...
and the camel as well.
Yeah.
And maybe this chap as well, because he has a nice hat. That
Yes,
you know,
this
never
is-
hurts to stack the odds, does
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. When you travel, it's not bad to have a good camel with you.
The Chelyabinsk region rests in both Europe and Asia, and its territorial position means it's become an ethnic melting pot.
So central, you have that European culture mixed with Asian culture as well.
That's what's specific about us.
I was ready to experience some of this ethnic culture firsthand, and when there's a celebration in these parts, they don't do things by halves.
So we've got music, some very colourful people, and an extremely muddy field. I could almost be at Glastonbury here, but this festival promises to be just as good. It's called Sabantui, and it is the national Bashkiri and Tatar event of the year.
And don't be surprised if you bump into a special guest or two.
Look, I've even got the presidential seal of approval. Thanks, Dimitri.
Sabantui is a summer festival that's been celebrated for over 1,000 years, and I was about to meet up with someone who really knew his way around.
Hello!
Artur is a native Bashkir, one of the event organisers and a Sabantui expert.
Sabantui is an old Bashkir, Tatar and Kazakh feast. In the old days, people used to come together here as a form of communion. Being nomads, they had little opportunity to communicate in everyday life. Here they got together once a year and married off their daughters.
There might not have been wedding bells in the air, but there was still plenty to celebrate. And in Bashkir and Tatar culture, that means masses of food.
Hello. Please try our national drink. Buza.
Muza.
Yes, buza. This is boiled horse meat.
Wow. I was thinking of a little bite.
Try some chak-chak, please.
This is supposed to be the best honey in Russia, so this is taking the honey actually out of the cones here. And there we go. You see these two bees that have got stuck.
But if you really want to work up an appetite, you can always test out your prowess in some traditional sports.
And they've got a few unusual tests of manhood at this festival, like the fastest pole climber. This chap's not getting off to a terribly good start.
And there's plenty of action for the local strongmen too.
There's a couple of mismatches going on here. Looks like the guy's about 13 years old getting manhandled by this much bigger guy.
Sadly, the competition was going on all day, and I had a previous engagement to attend. So, after a few painful-looking body slams, I headed back to Artur's tent.
Right, well, after watching all that sport and all that dancing, it's definitely made me hungry. So I'm in the right place, I think. Здравствуйте.
Salam alaikum.
Salam alaikum.
Добро пожаловать.
Спасибо. Right, so I need to wash my hands.
And when they're throwing a dinner party, they don't mess around.
Take a seat.
Look at this. Fit for a king. Fabulous. Oh.
This is our traditional dish. Give it a try.
But there's no need to worry about overeating, because they have a few natural digestive aids on hand.
It's another kind of slightly alcoholic, fermented, milky drink.
Just a word of warning, vegetarians should definitely stay away.
Bashkiri hospitality. I tell you what, Glastonbury might have Robbie Williams, but if I can eat like this at Sabantui, I'll take it every time.
Good man. A real Bashkir. 100%.
With the table still groaning with food, I finally waddled away from my hosts and Sabantui. It had been a very delicious day, but for the sake of my stomach, it was time to start looking at a few of Chelyabinsk's more active pursuits.